A lot of people are unpacking aspects of the Emergencies Act, and I don't see a lot of problems in it. And I am a person who is, I don't know if I'm necessarily a Minuteman for freedom, but certainly I'm on the watch for government overreach. And when you consider that this particular policy is being invoked, it does not withdraw things like arrest without warrant or the ability to search your house without a warrant. It doesn't withdraw the fact that if police arrest you, they have to produce charges and they have to bring you before a judge. They're not really bringing that much to the table that didn't already exist. But there are aspects of it that do give you pause. One of them certainly being financial aspects. We'll talk about that at 8:45 and Free for All round 2. But the idea that you donating to a cause, even if that cause might be noxious, that is something that could be flagged by a bank or could be declared to be illegal. Or how about the issue of some of the people involved in the protests having their insurance withdrawn or their licenses to drive trucks withdrawn? Personal injury lawyer Nainesh Kotak joins us now for some perspective on the issue. Good morning. Nice to have you.
Good morning, John. It's nice to be on.
I know it's probably very satisfying for people who want this protest to end to come up with some heavy-handed tactics. But, I mean, what is the legality of, for example, revoking the insurance of a truck driver?
You know, it obviously would have very significant consequences. So, first of all, let me talk about those consequences. If insurance is revoked and you do drive, and that does happen, unfortunately, first of all, there could be a fine of up to $25,000. Secondly, it's very difficult to get insurance again. And thirdly, if you're in an accident, we have a two-tier system for compensation here. One is the no fault that pays basic income replacement benefits and medical rehabilitation. Well, you wouldn't have access for the income replacement benefits, just some minor medical attention. And even if you're not at fault, you wouldn't be able to sue. If you are at fault, you might be personally liable. So there's some significant consequences of this. And let's remember, John, let's put this in perspective. The rest of the country was able to deal with protests and blockades without this legislation. In fact, we had a state of an emergency in Ontario itself. And that all worked, even in Alberta, where there were weapons found. So the real question is, are we jumping from zero enforcement in Ottawa, which essentially it was, I think the only tickets were given to actual Ottawa residents, to going in fully loaded with a bazooka, basically, because this legislation really, it replaced the War Measures Act, came in 1988, has never been used before. 4 grounds. The grounds they're citing is that of the public order emergency. But essentially, you have to look at the CSIS Act. What's it designed to combat? Espionage, sabotage, detrimental foreign influence, activities which support the threat or use of violence for political, religious, or ideological objective. So we have to look at it, and there has to be a condition that the existing laws in place they're not viable to deal with the issue at hand. Well, look, I mean, if people are causing a disturbance, if there's public mischief, they can be charged. Vehicles can be removed under the provincial emergency legislation. So in my view, I understand this, it's become more than a protest. It's more of an occupation. I get it. And it's really affected the livelihood and the lives of the citizens of Ottawa. But, you're jumping from zero enforcement to massive enforcement, and the consequences to those, to the future. When will this be used again? And now the threshold, is it lowered? Is it going to be employed much more regularly when it really is in a democratic, free country supposed to be that of a last resort?
Okay, well, let's talk about a very practical situation. Let's imagine we go ahead and a trucker, for example, is stripped of their insurance, but they continue driving. They go through a stop sign, hit my car. What happens next?
Well, you would have a claim against your own insurance company. Let's say you're injured. So you would claim for your no fault, for your own insurance, and you would sue your own insurance as if they were taking the place of the other driver because that driver doesn't have insurance. Your insurance, in turn, can obtain a judgment against that person personally, and it can lead, again, to revocation of future insurance. It can lead to revocation of driver's licenses. So there are very, very serious consequences to driving without insurance. And I see it a lot. You get a case where, I took the insurance off and just left fire and theft. I just was going to go to the store this one time, and lo and behold, the accident happened. Well, Murphy's Law has a way of catching up. So I think, obviously freezing bank accounts and taking away insurance, these are very significant measures that have strong consequences for sure.
Thanks for this. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Nainesh Kotak, a personal injury lawyer.